If you're looking to go to a T14 law school, you should probably know what kind of LSAT score you'll need. In this video, I'll break down the LSAT medians at the top 14 law schools. Before I get into it, I wanted to be clear about what an LSAT median is exactly. A median LSAT score means that half of applicants who were accepted and matriculated at that law school had an LSAT score above that number, and half of applicants who were accepted and chose to go to that law school have LSAT scores below that number. So typically, when you're looking to apply to law school, you will ideally want an LSAT score and a GPA above the median of the schools you're applying to maximize your odds of admission, especially considering that law schools, of course, always want to raise their LSAT scores and raise their GPAs for the inclusion in the ever important US News law school rankings. They're looking to raise their status in the rankings, so the numbers keep getting higher and higher over time. So without further ado, here are the LSAT score medians at the T14 law schools for the class of 2026. At Stanford Law, the LSAT median is a 173. At Yale, it's a 175. At UChicago, it's a 173. At UPenn, it's a 172. At Duke, it's a 170. At Harvard, it's a 174. At NYU, it's a 172. At Columbia, it's a 173. Virginia, 171. Northwestern, 171. UC Berkeley, 170. UMich, 171. Cornell, 172. UCLA, 170. So you can see here that all the T14 law schools have LSAT medians at or above a 170, Yale as high as 175. So if you're looking to go to a T14 law school, you ideally want to be in the low 170s, if not the mid 170s or better. Of course, much depends on your GPA as well. But if you're like many applicants, you may be a so-called splitter applicant where your GPA is relatively lower than the median, meaning you'll want an LSAT score above the median to maximize your odds of admission. If you are a splitter applicant, don't worry about it. Law schools love splitters. In fact, nearly every single law school weighs LSAT scores more heavily than undergraduate GPAs. So it's much better to have a relatively higher LSAT and a relatively lower GPA than vice versa. It's totally fine to have a low GPA if you can make up for it with a high LSAT score. And by the way, the longer you've been out of undergrad, the less your undergraduate GPA matters and the more your LSAT score matters. The reason being that if time has passed from having earned that undergraduate GPA, law schools recognize who you were at the age of, say, 20 is not who you are at the age of 25 or 30 or beyond. Your LSAT score will be a much more reasonable indication of your current aptitude and current abilities, where you currently stand, and LSAT score is typically taken to be more predictive of first-year law school grades than GPA is when considered in isolation. But of course, the two taken together, LSAT and GPA, are an even stronger indication of your first-year law school grades. By the way, for those of you wondering, master's degree GPA does not count for law school admissions. Law school admissions is based solely, or primarily at least, on your LSAT score, your undergraduate GPA, and then of course, soft factors like your personal statement, your other application essays, rec letters, resume, interview, and so on. But the LSAT score is still the biggest factor in the law school admissions process. Of course, you don't need to go to a T14 law school to become a successful attorney, but I would love for you to become the kind of applicant who can achieve a LSAT score necessary to get into a top 14 law school, because that will be maximizing your odds of getting significant scholarship money for all the other law schools out there. I'll get into GPA medians in just a moment, but before I do, a little bit about LSAT Unplugged. We offer live online classes via Zoom, on-demand video courses, small group coaching, and one-on-one coaching. Check out the links below this video to find out more and to book a call with me and my team. We'd love to help you out and help you achieve that score of 170 or above to get you into the T14 law schools, ideally with an LSAT score above the medians of the schools to which you're applying. Anyway, here are the GPA medians at the T14 law schools. Stanford University, 3.92, Yale, 3.96, UChicago, 3.91, UPenn, 3.92, Duke, 3.87, Harvard, 3.93, NYU, 3.9, Columbia, 3.87, Virginia, 3.94, Northwestern, 3.89, UC Berkeley, 3.87, UMich, 3.85, Cornell, 3.9, and UCLA, 3.92. So as you can see here, all the T14 law schools have GPA medians of 3.8 or above, typically hovering around that 3.9 mark. Of course, if your GPA is below that median, totally fine. You can make up for it with a top LSAT score. Anyway, folks, that's all for now. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please do me a favor and share it with someone who needs to see it. Maybe you know someone aiming for a top 14 law school and you're sharing this video with them, helping give them additional motivation to achieve that top LSAT score will make the difference in them doing just that. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.